Let's be honest. If you're like me, you kind of hate reading. It's okay. It's not even your fault. School programmed you to dislike it. I mean, we read a plethora of books that just simply were uninteresting, except because of Winn-Dixie. That one kind of hit. But here's the truth. Books give you an unfair advantage over the unfocused and lost. Because right now you are probably consuming content from people who don't actually want to help you. They just want your attention. Flashy thumbnails, crazy titles, and every time you click, you are draining your dopamine until you are lying in the bed, scrolling, waiting for your next hit, like a crackhead. But here's the difference. Books are content too. They just hit a little different. Because when you read, your brain is forced to slow down and actually absorb the information. This is why books mog content, and the man who reads instead of scrolls will always win. See, reading will expand your awareness, allowing you to look deeper into things beyond the surface level and beyond the average person. No longer are you just looking at a thumbnail, oh, that looks nice and cute and colory and flashy, and then clicking on it. No, you are looking at pages, something physical. It's kind of like the meme where they tell you to touch grass. It's similar to that, except it's in a more physical content level. I don't know. This is scientific. Studies have actually shown that books will increase cognitive function and articulation. The best way that I got a little bit more articulate with my speech is not only recording YouTube videos, watching them over, realizing that I say like 50 times in a video, but also reading. One of the first things I enjoyed was reading out loud. Yes. You know, when the teacher called on you in front of the entire classroom and was like, hey, kid who can't read out loud. Although that was nerve-wracking, now you can do it in the silence of your own home without any of the embarrassment. The point is that when you read out loud, it promotes your articulation. You have to understand that these books are from actual authors who do this shit for a living. You are repeating their punctuation and absolute perfect formation of the sentence back to yourself. This rewires your mind, and even at a deeper level, your subconscious mind, to be more articulate throughout the day versus TikTok slang and scrolling, where they try to get your attention quickly by these flashy big sentences and usually using curse words and bad speech to actually get your attention. Think about it, right? What catches your attention more when you're outside? Somebody who is having a normal conversation, or somebody who is abhorrent, loud, verbal, cursing, having an argument with somebody? That always catches your attention first. It's the same thing with content. The loudness, the rudeness, the curse words, all this stuff. Trust me, I'm not a pansy, but the point is that's going to catch your attention first, which honestly is not that bad of a thing, but it gets bad when you start using this language in your day to day. You have to think about the main people you watch as content. Now, I'm going to make a whole video about how the content you consume actually influences you to a level that personally we can't even understand. It's a subconscious level. But staying on the more surface, base of this point is that, I mean, who would you rather watch content from? Marcus Aurelius, Napoleon, Machiavelli, Robert Greene. A lot of my books are from people with like PhDs, doctors. Would you rather consume content from them, or would you rather consume content from, I don't know, your average Mr. Beast video or your Luxmax? Or those are the guys who are getting promoted in these algorithms. You know, Marcus Aurelius, I mean, number one, he's dead, right? So we can't really, but we can consume his content in a way through books. Wouldn't it be more interesting of learning how he thought in his day and applying his lessons to the modern day rather than just consuming something that, I don't know, Mr. Beast puts up? Or even me, for example. I'm no Roman Empire. You know, I'm no empire. I'm no Roman emperor. And that's the thing about these great leaders. Not only did they create content, make books documenting their thoughts, their battles, but on top of that, they themselves were obsessive readers. Yes, when we talk about people like Frederick Douglass, when we talk about people like Napoleon, they themselves, they loved content. But their content was different. It was books. Now, you see my shelf, it's just self-development. But you don't have to just read self-development. I'll go as far as saying that even reading comic books are much better than maybe watching a movie. Especially if you know, okay? When they made like Avengers, Civil War, and all these Avenger movies, they barely put what was in the comics in the movie because they couldn't, you know, fit everything in there, or, you know, the rights to the superheroes and all that stuff. Side point. But the greater point is that books are like content on steroids, okay? The second point is how books give you an unfair advantage. These books allow you to absorb wisdom from people who have lived and died, connecting you with higher levels of thinking without suffering in your own ways. There's things that Marcus Aurelius talks about when he talks about lying in your bed and how it's so hard to get out of your bed in the morning. That is something that the Roman Empire, I keep saying empire, that's something that a Roman emperor said. Learning from his wisdom, learning from his life, learning from his mistakes apply 100% to the modern day. We read in order to learn these lessons and not make the same mistakes in our own lives. Because although we can praise these great leaders, we also must realize that they made a lot of mistakes, right? A lot of them. But that's why reading improves your neural pathways. But that's why reading strengthens your neural pathways, helping you have better judgment in life. I mean, you look at books like how to get friends and influence people. I mean, you look at books like How to Win Friends and Influence People. That book teaches you the basics of communication skills. Is there a book summary about that book? Yes, I've listened to it many of times, but it doesn't go as deep as the actual book. You see, you have to understand that the content we consume is a downgrade of the actual book. A lot of your favorite self-improvement content creators, they've just read books and are regurgitating the information to you. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with consuming like self-improvement content. self-mastery content, self-actualization content. I know a lot of people don't like the term self-improvement. I don't really like it that much either. But there's nothing wrong with consuming that type of content. But sometimes you over-consume and it jumbles up into a mess, per se. Until you're not actually learning, you're just consuming. Rather, when you read, you're almost forced to learn. Books and knowledge used to be limited to only the elites of society. Now we can pick up a book as great as Meditations for $10.99. The unfair advantage comes in where you realize that people aren't using this advantage. People aren't using this avenue. And this kind of goes into the further point of, I think I'm gonna make a video too about looks maxing and how absolutely dumb that is. It's so retarded that one of my most popular videos is actually a looks maxing video. Gosh, ugh. And I was making fun of it the whole video. I was being very sarcastic, but some people didn't pick up on it. But looks maxing tells you that looks is everything. Looks is your attraction. And I focus a lot on my looks as well. But I rather care about what my intellect is. Right? Your intellect is your new attraction. Your intellect is going to give you leverage over other people. Think about someone who is a doctor versus a coal mine, versus like a coal miner. The biggest thing that separates these people's income isn't, unfortunately or fortunately, how hard they work. It's the leverage that they have. It's the knowledge that is in their brain. So you can work super hard at the gym. You can work super hard at looks maxing, but we almost recognize that our looks will fade. We will one day be 60, 80, 90 years old, but the intelligence, the IQ will remain the same. What we learned in this life will remain the same, and that is what is more attractive, not just to dating prospects, but to jobs, to opportunities. Sometimes it just takes knowing a thing or two about a certain subject in order to attract a person to you. And that doesn't, once again, that doesn't only go for dating prospects. That goes for marketing yourself. That goes for leverage opportunities. It's not that you focus on this or the other. You focus on both. But remember that you will be remembered for what you gave to the world, not how good you looked in your 20s. People like Socrates, people like Socrates and a lot of the Greek philosophers, they weren't really remembered on how they look. Unfortunately, these biceps, they're not gonna be as big when I'm 60. Okay, hopefully they are. But the point is, right, it's what information I gave to the world in order to make it anew, and this is where these books come from. The content you consume creates your life, and you have to decide, is the content going to be something that is paperback, something that is dense, something that can actually give you the challenge that you need to project yourself and propel yourself forward, or it's just going to be TikTok scrolls. But today, what am I trying to say? But that's it for today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed the video. Bro, make sure y'all like the video. I will get like decent amount of views for me at least, and not a lot of likes. So please make sure you like the video. I need to start putting this CTA in the beginning, but as well as check out my one-on-one coaching where we teach you how to body build, count your macros, grocery list. It goes in depth. I've never seen somebody have a more in-depth coaching program than me. So check it out. DM me on Instagram at Dante Pepper. We can get you set up. Peace out.